So here's the piece coming off of the 3D printer, and you might notice that it comes out kind of rough. Let me get this light down here. There. And then you can take out these facets, but I like to leave them in, and I'll show you why later. But the first thing is, I don't know why my printer does that every once in a while. I just want to get some sandpaper and just take off all the high stuff really quickly. Since this is going to have to be completely smooth, I'll show you how I do the filling, because I got all these lines and stuff. So I'll show you how I clean it up. There's lots of ways to do it, but I'll show you how I do it. So basically, I'm just going to sand and take off all these high spots, just get things kind of roughed down, get the big stuff down, and then I'll go on from there. You may also notice that as I'm sanding, like when the light's like this, it's hard to see. But if you take the light and you turn it to the side, suddenly everything becomes really, really visible. So you know where to concentrate your sanding. And for the really high stuff, of course, a file. Use a file. Now that I got most of the high spots sanded down, you'll notice that I have these facets left. Get the light a little better. These facets, and they're here for a specific reason, but first off, I'll sand them down. I don't know if you can see. I'll sand them down till the edges get flattened out, just like that, but the middle stays a little bit flat and indented. So normally on a regular model, I would just print I'd either take the facets out as much as I can in my slicer or my CAD program, but or thicken up the walls of the print and then just sand it all the way down, right? But in this case, I'm trying to keep this as light as possible, so I have fairly thin walls, so I can't sand these facets all the way out. Now that I have most high spots sanded down, but again, I left those facets a little bit. You can see it there. And then what I'm using is like a plasticized spackling. Some people use like automotive filler and stuff, but this stuff's water soluble and it's not nearly as toxic. So I use this, and it's flexible and doesn't shrink. So that's why I use this. So basically, you just apply it, pull it down, thin coats, fill in all those cracks and low spots. So now that it's dry, then I'll start sanding, these high spots down. With this particular type of whatever filler, it's best just to go in one single direction. But what I will do, the reason I left those facets in is I will sand down to just the high spots. And once those show through, I'll stop. That way I'll be sure to keep a perfect shape and not, get, wobbles. But that's why I leave the facets. If you don't want the facets, you can, in your CAD program, or even some slicers will minimize those or get rid of them. I leave them. In fact, sometimes I'll accentuate them a bit. If I was just going to paint like a solid color, I wouldn't sweat it that much, but with this particular robot, it's going to have light emanating from inside, so that's why I am going to use like not gray primer, but actually white primer when I seal all this up. I'll get to that. There's the first sanding. It looks pretty smooth, but then if you turn it towards the light, like this, like that, you can start to see the light at an angle. See divots, but yeah. another coat, sand it. No way around it. There's a lot of sanding involved. There, you can kind of see some of the divots with the lighting there. So, yeah.